I know I can depend on my barber to give me the perfect haircut every time. I respect his skill and commitment to his job. He is proudly serving Jamaica with his talent. Respect is also due to my bus conductor. He ensures that I am not left behind and I get on board safely. He is serving Jamaica steadfastly and honestly. It's good to see the police protecting and reassuring with courtesy. She is proudly honoring her pledge to work dutifully in the service of her fellow citizens. My journey through life is unfolding every day. I rely on a lot of people to help me to progress along the way. My family, my friends, and my fellow Jamaicans. With their support, I have a future in which great things are possible. I pledge my heart forever to serve Jamaica, our shining homeland, with pride.
Talk Up Yout is powered by National Baking Company in association with CranWata, a Stanley and Empress Production, giving the youth a voice.
And so we come to know these youths and show these youths. Talk up yourself, the youths to know them roots. Nurture them, protect and love and hear these youths. Music make them know I love we show these youths.
Mr. Save the youth, I kill the youth, I talk up youth, I build the youth, I trick and fool and pill the youth, I talk up youth, I build the youth, empower and then skill the youth, I talk up youth, I build the youth, talk up youth in Jamaica, we are
kill the youths there.
Talk up youth in Jamaica.
Hello Jamaica, my name is Delion and this is my story. Male marginalization in the education system is such an important issue. This issue has long been associated with males who feel a sense of, dispassionate, they feel almost disenfranchised. Now, I was basically born and raised in rural Jamaica, from Crawford, St. Elizabeth. Yes, I'm a country boy. And I have been facing this issue ever since I was young. I remember the first time I was enrolled in primary school, and I had two other cousins who was in the class with me. They always come first, they always occupy first and second place. I'm always third. And despite the fact of working hard, trying to do what I can do, they just always, be ahead of me. But it's something I've often now realized, even moving on to high school, that female teachers more favor females because females are the ones who put more attention, more time in their work. It's not to say that I wasn't interested. I was interested. I was interested, in doing my work and getting things done, but the reality was this. Teachers favor female more than males, especially females, and so what we had in the education system was a feminized curriculum, and I was exposed to that feminized curriculum. And so this is my story because a lot of males like myself has faced this issue of marginalization in the education system. I remember even in primary school, I had a difficulty with math. My stepfather was the one who basically sit with me and teach me math because apparently my head was tough. I didn't understand. And I find that, going to my teachers was even difficult because they thought that, this was such a simple math, I should understand. And I didn't understand because they tried to mirror me as this male who is similar to the female who should understand. But this was so contradicting because these females had the ability, had the competencies because the teachers looked out for them, but they didn't look out for me. And so I faced that issue ever since I was, a child. When finally, math was still an issue for me up until, fourth form, well, not fourth form, but grade 4. And I still battle with it. I mean, despite the fact that I came first in grade 4 and I excelled, but it was really my part too. I played a role trying to work hard, push myself to really conquer math because teachers, they never really looked out for, because they're saying, oh, this male doesn't seem interested. And the truth, I was interested. I want to learn. I want to understand. I want to be able to say, miss, you need to help me with this. Each time I asked it always seemed like, what is this, understand, boy? Like, it almost seemed like you need to understand this basic math. But I didn't. And so I faced, and up until today, I still have a little, issue with math, despite the fact that I passed it and I get a really good grade. But I was expecting my teacher to really helped me and pushed me, but everybody laughed because the idea is that males are easily distracted, and I wasn't the easily distracted type. And despite the fact that you have males who are easily distracted, it's the approach the teachers used in educating these males. And so statistics keep showing, statistics keep reflecting that a lot of males are easily dissatisfied with the education system because of how the curriculum is taught. And so what we need to do as a nation, what the Ministry of Education needs to do, what I am passionate about changing in this education system, is to change the approach of how we teach our boys. Change the approach, because boys can learn, boys do have a voice. We teach boys to be aggressive, we teach boys to be loud, but yet in the education system we teach them to just sit and just listen, shut up and learn. That is not a Jamaica we expect to move forward. We need a Jamaica that looked about educating boys, making boys the forefront of learning, making boys priority in education. But I think what should happen, I think what the education system should have, what should take place in the education system, particularly for among boys, we have tactile approaches towards educating boys. So yeah, we go back to that physical thing where boys are allowed to feel the curriculum, not feel the curriculum, but allowed to feel what the materials they use so they can understand what to do. That is what we need to do. The ministry need to do more, spend more time framing out a curriculum that will help to promote and improve CXC grades among boys in Jamaica. We have seen the statistic. We have seen, for example, in Educate Jamaica sometimes released statistics of performance across Jamaica, and we're seeing where girls outperform. In the list or the rankings, we're seeing that the top 3 positions are held by girls. To note, the top 5 positions are also held by girls, and that we need to change in Jamaica. We need to bring a balanced curriculum, so we need to mix the approaches. And so after I left rural Jamaica, and I did from 1st to 5th form there, and I came to a school in corporate Jamaica, and there basically I had a much more mature learning environment where there was a balance in terms of learning capabilities and learning distinction. I am at a different space. I'm learning at a much different pace. I'm understanding now, and I was able to actually be comfortable in what I was much more comfortable in learning. And so what the Minister of Education needs to do, we seriously need to attend to the attention of boys in Jamaica. Boys are not at loss. It's how we look at the system. Colonialism has been done long ago. We need to move past this approach of chalk and talk approach. What we need to do, we need to look at different strategies, the kinesthetic approaches towards education. This involves the tactile form of learning. So we incorporate feel and touch in the curriculum. We incorporate extensive field studies. We incorporate certain areas of learning where boys can have knowledge and understand of how to express themselves. What we do, we need to create a balance in teachers. Instead of having, despite the fact that some males are actually, they're not the freedom and they're not readily want to go into the education profession, but we need to cater more for a balance. Not to say that male teachers will do a better job in teaching males, but have a more balanced approach where we don't look at gender but look at teaching. And teaching involves you allow both boys and females to learn in a healthy and productive environment. The education system needs to change. We have to change it. Stakeholders, government, we need to change the approach. We need to make boys have the ability. We need to want them to learn. And so I believe that if we look at this issue, then we can change.
There is no other bun like this one. The flavor is so good. Who say bun can't sweet? Oops, mind you bite your finger.
National Spiced Buns, baked with national pride.
My wow moment.
My wow moment.
My wow moment.
CranWata with wow.
That's my wow. That's my wow. Yeah. Water with wow. Watch out.
My wow moment when I get the highest massage. That's my wow. Water with wow.
When we get 16 at maths, I never expect so much. That's my wow.
CranWata with wow. When school over, I'ma get for me. That's my wow.
Water with wow.
I'ma get my back food. That's my wow. CranWata with wow.
Water with wow.
We have to build the youth there.
Up Yout in Jamaica.
Basically, I had a wonderful childhood. Basically, growing up in rural St. Elizabeth with my mom and my dad. Yeah, bush, come from bush life, but it was really cool. I love the fact that it was very communal. But one thing that bothered me so much was, and it's something I'd realized that happened across the board, is how boys in general, how my other friends basically communicated and how they basically learned. I remember I had two cousins who both attend the same primary school, and they're always 2 places before me. I'm always third. I could never understand. And what I find that, my teachers catered for them, but as a boy, you had to work so hard. Especially from math. I knew I loved math from first to fourth, from grade 1 to grade 4. But I just couldn't get in. I just couldn't get that grade, and they always get it. And I think I'd work really hard. So the whole idea of being marginalized, I think it starts not only from school, but even from the household. How our mom and dad treat, our other female siblings and how they look at us. I guess they probably think, boys are just naturally aggressive, so they can do anything they want to do. But we're lacking that attention, and,
But let's bring it back home to the education system again, because when you look at schools overall, the fact is when you look at the majority of our class, you'll have more girls than boys, and oftentimes you'll find that the curriculum is there, and because boys are tactile, we can't negate.
Yeah, we can't negate that at all.
We're hands-on. We like to feel what we're learning essentially, and attention span generally is short. And we have to find a way to bridge that gap.
Yeah, we have to.
And from early, as a matter of fact, not wait till we reach high school, but start even as small as basic early childhood education, because the sooner we can start to recognize that, listen, boys are no different as
we're no different.
The ability to learn and understand concepts. But if we can meet them halfway to the art, if it is that our approach is like this and it's not working, there are many
approaches,
ways that we can use to kind of change our, not tweak the curriculum, but tweak how the curriculum is delivered to help us to understand better.
Sometimes it has to do with culture of the school.
Yeah, culture.
At my school, I don't think guys were that much marginalized per se. I think marginalization was more so on part of socio-economic class. But guys at my school, we had a lot of technical subjects. MECTEC was a very popular subject. So we never really felt marginalized at school. I think the whole time we started to feel marginalized. I think it's as you got older, I feel like the marginalization started when it was, especially for guys who did humanities. Because I think that's where the pressure
the pressure starts coming in,
It was like everybody expecting the guys to do the physics, MECTEC, and that kind of thing. When they do humanities, people always just
because
in a humanities class, like a history, you're
what? Two boys,
But I'm gonna be honest, as you said, in my high school, I never really faced marginalization per se, because it felt like equal opportunity, and the truth is there was a balance, a good balance of boys doing as well as in many instances even better than girls.
I think marginalization, it creeps up into every kind of situation, because how we look at resources, for example. Even when I was doing MECTEC classes as well, I felt marginalized because I think the teacher, because they had two females was in the class, and the male teacher, who I thought would have been on our side, was basically catering more for those females, because upon how her education sturdy, So males on the whole, we just need to have a system where males are re-socialized, the education system is more balanced, and take out this feminized curriculum where we have certain things that's focused on females, but more collaboration and balance in our education system. And I think we can have a better Jamaica, Ms. McClure, I want to say thank you for your wonderful impact as a teacher. My 2 years at Wolmer's has allowed me to see things differently, not only in essay writing, but your style as a teacher. You're like a mother and friend and a mentor. And I just want to say thank you for that wonderful contribution and development in my life.
You're welcome, Delion. I mean, having to engage with you or deal with you for the past 2 years has really been an honor for me as well. I mean, you came with already an impressive resume, probably more impressive than a lot of other adults that I've seen, and you're really hardworking and you're a lovely person, so it really has been a pleasure for me as well.
Thank you so much, Miss. I remember when we were, when I came and we were looking at Olive Senior, I really enjoyed that text because Olive Senior, her language and her style and the theme of giving voice to the voiceless. And I looked at that in many ways because you have given me a voice. I would say to myself, I was voiceless before, but you have somehow impacted and you have just molded me in a very wonderful way. And I would say, I think other young men or other young students, like myself, should have an experience where their teachers are personable, very personal, and really contribute to their development.
I would say everyone think I'm personable, but I really believe that classrooms should be safe spaces for students, and I don't mean safe from criticism, positive criticism, but a safe space where they can develop their thoughts. A lot of the acting out that we see with young men and people in general is because they don't have maybe the skills,
right?
Linguistic skills to communicate what is happening with them, and there are no spaces for them to do so. So I really believe it's an important part of my teaching to provide that avenue. And I mean, clearly I don't want to teach desks and chairs. I want students to interact with me so I know that they are learning.
I remember one time I was going to a very low period and you picked it up through my writing, essay writing, and you said to me, Delion, you have to debunk what was taught to you before. And in a way to understand and go on, you have to first and foremost unstrip, then you rebuild and you maintain. Do you find that it's easy, to develop such a method to tell every young man? And do you find the nuances in how they're writing? And does that nuance affect their overall behavior and development in their life?
Okay. Well, every young man is different. Your needs are different from another student's. Some need more support and mentorship than others. Some of them just need the teacher to come in the classroom and say, this is the content. So it really depends on who the student is. So yes, I do feel invested in you personally, and I do feel invested in a lot of the students that I've had to interact with on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you, Miss.
You're welcome.
In Jamaica.
Wait. Take a bite of National Giant Hardo. Nothing comes close. How do you hardo? Bread and patty? Bread and butter?
National Giant Hardo bread, baked with national pride.
When you're ready. Ready? Ooh, wait, me from the fall off.
Ready now?
Come get new bundles and makeup now. That's my wow. Water with wow.
Just get that song full of gas. That's my wow. Water with wow. Front one there, water with wow.
The way me when we reach a foreign. I when the plane touch down in New York. That's my wow. Water with wow.
We have to build the youths there.
Up Yout in Jamaica.
So, Delion, the lion, that's very symbolic, I presume.
Yes, very symbolic.
Heard a lot about you, read a lot about you as well. I'm Giovanni Dennis, I'm a journalist here at the RJR Gleaner Group, work for Television Jamaica, work across both platforms, radio and television. And when you're ready, you can ask me anything you want about me. This is not about me, this is really about you, and trying to find out about you. So, notwithstanding everything I've read, just tell me about yourself, who you are, your aspirations, what you want to do, and some of the challenges that you think you have in achieving that.
I just recently completed 6th form at Wilmers Boys School, and I'll be heading to University of the West Indies to pursue a degree or read a degree in journalism or international relations. I like those two fields because I think it gives me the ability to express myself. I like journalism because in journalism you have the ability to do what you really love, and I think I have a passion for that. So I definitely chose that field because I think journalism came to me and it speak to me before I actually went and said I wanted it. And I think whatever I eventually work out to do, either journalism or international relations, I think I'll be equally proud about myself.
I'll tell you this much. If you have talent and you work hard, no matter what, people can't go hold you back.
Right.
There is nothing surprising, there is nothing unique about the fact that, okay, it can be challenging.
Yes.
It's challenging anywhere in the world. Even in a first world country, you'll have 100 people competing for that one job. But what is it that will propel you to get that particular job that you want within journalism? But then the first thing is you have to know what you want. So what exactly is it that you want in journalism when you come on to the whole issue of journalism?
I think I want to reach out. I like the emotional stories people have to share. I like reading authors' books and their novels, and I like to have that one-on-one conversation with them because sometimes I believe the form of journalism, I believe it's speaking your truth and making your truth matters, and so I believe in that form of journalism.
I don't know which other form of journalism I said the form of journalism where you like or the one where you speak your truth.
I mean,
is there another type of journalism?
Come on, we know the other forms of sensational journalism that is happening, Exactly.
I mean, yeah, whatever fancy what people call it, I probably won't repeat it. But journalism is truth. It is writing what is truth and what is factual. Anything else is really propaganda. People spin stuff and mix up stuff for them own ends or ulterior motives.
Right.
But journalism is truth. I think you're actually on the right path. I mean, you sound like you probably feel motivated to me. But I agree with you that journalism is not just a profession. It's actually more than just a job. It's really a calling.
It is.
You don't pay no whole heap of money. Contrary to popular belief, a lot of the people when you see on TV, you're not necessarily getting a whole lot of money. It's not that job that going to have that big, heavy salary. So if that you go for, or that anybody at all go for, don't do journalism. I can tell you for a fact that you will encounter a whole heap of challenges.
Definitely.
It's not easy and you have to drop down sometime.
It's a part of the journey.
The important thing is how you rise back up after you fall. I went without employment for 6 months after I was discharged from the military. I was training to become a potential officer. I got a knee injury and I got discharged. And that was probably the most character building period of my life.
Right.
If you look at every great person, they've been through something. And just this
actually, Giovanni, it's a lesson a lot of young men, should actually ingrain within themselves, because the idea of this fast approach, this fast money mentality is something that is drained in Jamaican mentality. And so we need to actually re-socialize males to actually realize that things do take time. I mean, despite the fact that males, as males, we're sometimes at risk in terms of how the education system is set up, I still believe males, we have a great way to go. I mean that how the education system sets itself. So we still have a feminized curriculum, we still have teachers who cater more for female, and because males generally, the idea, the thought that males are naturally distracted in classroom because of the educational apparatus they use to teach these males.
When we use them things, I can just share my own experience with that. I don't know if this is advisable or ideal. It isn't. But I always use that as a motivation. Because I can relate in terms of how the educational system is skewed perhaps towards female. My primary school teacher never liked when me and I cuss me because I ask questions. I always ask questions. If I write something wrong on the board, and if I work it out and I feel like it wrong, I'm saying, Miss, how that go? Shut up, you chat too much.
Exactly.
I get some sort of punishment.
And that's the thing, because males are not given the platform to feel free to speak up, because we told males to be aggressive, we told them to be loud outside of the classroom, because that was what they were socialized to be from primary socialization. So why is it different in the classroom? And so it takes much of an effort. The education system has somehow had to change its approach. And because boys, we're tactile learners, we like to feel and touch and see things.
So I do agree with you, and I think there is a general sentiment that our educational system kind of need to rejig a bit, facilitate students who are extraordinary.
Yes.
And by being extraordinary, sometimes I feel extra. So let's say extra, it's a good thing. Nobody said nothing about, Lord, the extra, Lord, the nothing, you said enough.
Exactly.
You want to do this, you want to that. We can't stand him, man. That's okay, that's fine. It's by being that extra and participating in several different things that you become extraordinary.
Yeah.
But stay true to yourself.
Thank you, Giovanni. Yes.
Keep going, keep believing. As we say, expect the hurdles, expect the challenges, but remain steadfast to your goals inherently.
Thank you.
And push yourself forward. Write them down, look on them, read them over. Just always there.
Yes, and also congratulations on your recent POJ award. It's Association of Jamaican award, you know. That is motivating for me as well.
Alright, happy for that. So just keep in touch, keep link up. It's not just a 15-minute conversation here. I'll tell the whole team they can share my number with you, and you can always keep in touch and communicate.
Thank you.
Track each other's progress, and you know that's the idea. Each one teach one, because we're all on this path to success and to becoming our best selves. You see me?
Thanks, Jay.
One love.
One love, yeah. If you are a young man out there in Jamaica, you need to find somebody who can help you. You need to find teachers, mentors. That's what I did. I went ahead, went on Facebook, had friends. I was a sociable type. So what I had to do, and that propelled me to get further in life, I found somebody, I found a mentor, and that helped and propelled me.
Talk Up Yout is powered by National Baking Company in association with CranWata, a Stanley and Empress Production, giving the youth a voice.